The ocean keeps two kinds of secrets, the ones it swallows and the ones we draw into existence. For more than a century, sailors plotted a neat, coffin-shaped smudge in the Coral Sea, an island no one could prove but everyone kept copying. They called it Sandy Island. If you opened an atlas, checked maritime charts, or zoomed in on a certain patch of blue on early digital maps, there it was. A slash of land between Australia and New Caledonia, big enough to cast a shadow across shipping lanes and imaginations alike. And then one day, the island was gone. Not drowned by a storm, not melted by a volcano, simply deleted. Our story begins with the oldest map maker of all, rumor at sea. 19th century captains wrote the world with lead line and fear. They sailed at night by starlight, by dead reckoning, by the rough arithmetic of waves against hull. Somewhere in those years, reports of a low, sandy spit appeared in logbooks. The sighting was brief, perhaps glimpsed at dusk or through mist. But a position was recorded, latitude and longitude, not far from the Chesterfield reefs, and a small shape entered a chart. The moment ink touched paper, the island became real to everyone who never went there. Cartography, contrary to myth, is not a testament to certainty. It is a ledger of bets. When one chart lists a feature, another chart copies it. A government hydrographic office borrows from a foreign pilot book. An atlas publisher compiles from both. Each reproduction hardens the guess into a fact. Over decades, Sandy Island snowballed through authoritative sources. It appeared in journals, on navigation charts, and eventually, long after paper had given way to pixels, it slipped into digital databases that fed early GPS plotters and the new, seductive globe on your computer screen. The island's outline even showed as a jagged black polygon in some satellite products, a glitch that looked like censorship, fueling conspiracy theories that something here was being hidden on purpose. But not everyone was convinced. Fishermen who worked those waters told quiet stories. They'd steered across the alleged island and hit only wind and swell. Naval officers murmured that depths there were too great for a sandbar to perch. And meteorologists, who rely on the shape of the sea for models, found the island awkward, like a brick lodged in a river. Still, the mark persisted. In the cartographic ecosystem, deletion is rare. No one wants to erase a hazard and be wrong. And then came a modern expedition with an old-fashioned question. A team of geoscientists, heading through the Coral Sea to study tectonic plates, noticed that their voyage plan required skirting Sandy Island. The ship's navigation screen warned of land ahead, but the satellite imagery they used for sea surface temperature showed only open water. The instruments disagreed. The ocean shrugged. Curiosity is a captain too, and it ordered a detour directly through the coordinates of the supposed land. Night on the research vessel is a cathedral of humming machines. The scientists stood at the bridge windows, watching the bow cleave a silk-black surface. They prepared the echo sounder, the instrument that throws a pulse of sound into the deep and measures the seconds until the sea answers back. If there was an island, a shoal, a seamount, a hint of continental bone, the sounder would sing it. The pulse went out. Seconds stretched. The return wave finally rose from a depth far below any coral's reach. 1,300 meters. The ocean floor here was a drowned plain, deeper than the Eiffel Tower stacked 4 times. There was no island, no shoal, no shoulder on which a sandbar could rest. The charts, so careful, so official, were wrong. And the ship sailed on, over nothing but blue. News traveled faster than the old rumors that made the island in the first place. Within days, the finding ricocheted through research networks and into the public square. A phantom island. There's no phrase the human mind loves more. Hydrographic offices reviewed their sources, and the quiet process of unmaking a place began. Editors updated digital layers. Atlas publishers issued corrections. One by one, maps blinked and the gray lozenge vanished. Where a generation had seen land, the next saw clean sea. The world had not changed, only our picture of it. How does a place that never was become so stubbornly real? The answer lies in the delicate feedback loop between observation, authority, and replication. A single misplotted sighting, perhaps a cloud bank mistaken for dunes, perhaps pumice or a line of breakers, enters a respected nautical directory. That directory is ingested by a national chart office. The chart, stamped with a crest, informs an international database. Later, digital mapmakers license the database and display the island without ever visiting it. No malice, no conspiracy, just the astonishing momentum of consensus. Yet there are subtler forces at work. Consider the psychology of omission. Removing a feature from a chart is a louder act than adding one. It invites blame if a mariner grounds where a chart said there was nothing. So cartographers hedge. They inherit ghosts because ghosts offend no one. By the time someone wonders whether a phantom still deserves its ink, the ghost has tenure. There is also the romance of the unknown. Phantom islands are the sea's folklore. Bermeja in the Gulf, the Isle of Demons in the north, and here, Sandy in the Coral Sea. Each a speck where desire or dread once focused the eye. They are cautionary tales about the difference between data and truth. Satellites see much, but they cannot correct a century of polite copying unless a human asks an impolite question and points a ship at an absence. When Sandy Island disappeared from every map, some imagined a cover-up, secret military installations, submarine volcanoes, or corporate interests erasing a claim. But the mundane explanation is more radical. The vanishing was a triumph of skepticism. A community that prizes precision admitted that one of its lines, repeated for generations, had no support. That honesty recalibrates more than a chart. It refreshes the contract between explorer and world. The coordinates where Sandy once floated on paper are now a clear blue hole on the map, an absence with a history. Sailors pass through it with a shrug. Scientists log the soundings and move on. Digital map tiles load without the black scar of a corrupted polygon. But a trace remains in the corrected editions, in newsroom archives, and in the minds of anyone who watched an island get unbuilt. The ocean was never smaller for losing a fiction. We were simply less wrong. What then did the deletion change? It freed ships from the needless dogleg that planners once drew around a phantom. It sharpened climate and current models that rely on coastlines and reefs. It reminded mapping agencies to mark uncertainty plainly, to prefer dotted lines and cautious notes over confident mistakes. Most of all, it offered a parable for an age of data abundance. The more layers we stack, the more we must question the first layer beneath them. The sea will always make liars of us. It bends light, breeds mirage, and hides mountains. But the same sea rewards patience. Echoes return, archives yield, and one day a crew stands on a deck under a coin-white moon and tests a rumor with instruments and nerve. In that moment, the world grows by subtraction. An island goes missing, and reality, ever so slightly, comes into focus. If you visit the Coral Sea on a quiet night and drift over those coordinates, you will see nothing, just swells running to the horizon and the sky like black glass laid on black glass. You might feel tempted to invent a coastline, to sketch a certainty onto the blue. Resist it. Let the blank be beautiful. Somewhere between legend and latitude, you will sense the courage it took to erase a mistake and the wonder left behind by what was never there at all.